Hello and welcome to another Frackin' podcast. I'm Marty and I'm here with my two co-hosts.
I'm Joseph.
And I'm Van.
And if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. If you're tuning in again, thank you so much. We're glad to have you back. Today's episode is Ever Expanding Universe Fandom Edition Part 2. And we'll be discussing some of our favorite fandoms, how they started, and how their universe was expanded. In the first part, we covered Star Trek, Star Wars, and Firefly, and today we have some more fandoms to go into. Let's get started.
Woo, woo. We should do Doctor Who first because we were stressing out Joseph by continuously pushing it during our last episode, which I listened to because I forgot what we talked about. So,
look, we had a plan.
We did have a
whole
plan.
presentation set.
I understand. We went for chaos. But we can start with Doctor Who this time.
I am shocked that we were chaotic. Like, it's just unbelievable.
Us?
Yeah.
Chaotic?
Us?
Definitely not.
Never. The Doctor, on the other hand.
Chaos.
How about you kick us off, Joseph? Or Van? What? You want
it? Do you need a moment, Joseph? I can kick us off.
I mean, okay, so Doctor Who first started off as an amazing sci-fi show in 1963. As we all know, we have had various actors play the Doctor. I think regeneration was one of the most amazing things. But even early on with Doctor Who, they would have these like audio specials on the radio. And that just kept on going. And I don't know for sure, but I believe all of that is part of canon, right? Like all the audio special.
I think that the radio
Doctor
show
Who,
is
everything is wibbly wobbly, canon whammon.
True.
But if you have not heard the Doctor Who radio shows, they are definitely worth looking into. They are so good.
And I have to admit that I have like listened to one, and it was amazing. But it's like there's just so much Doctor Who, and I'm always on the hunt. I'm always on the hunt for the older episodes, right? Like I remember the Fourth Doctor, right? So that's like when I first started watching, and it came on PBS, reruns of it, and watched all the way through everything I could get when I was younger. But like the first three Doctors, I had seen none of it, so I've been hunting for as much of it as I can watch.
See, I am jealous that you got into Doctor Who so early on because, like a lot of people, 9 was my first Doctor, and it was completely by accident. Like I was literally wandering the shelves at Best Buy back in the day when they actually had DVD sales, when they had those 1999 DVD sales right after like New Year's. And I was there looking for like the last few seasons of The Next Generation or something. And I saw the new series of Doctor Who, just that first season with 9. And it was just a really cool, the way that they had put the DVD box set together was just really cool. And I was like really intrigued by the cover. I knew nothing about it. And I'm just going to buy it because it was so cheap. And then
I love that for you. That's a great way to get hooked on it. My parents sat us down when 9 premiered. Like for the premiere episode, they sat us down and they're like, you got to watch Doctor Who, because they had watched it. But I didn't get into Doctor Who, obviously, until 9 came around. And he's still my favorite because he's the best.
So it's so hard for me to pick a favorite Doctor because I did start so early, and like 4 definitely for the longest time was my favorite, hands down, period.
I mean, I want the scarf.
I have a copy of that, a replica of that scarf somewhere in like one of my bags, and I've done the cosplay like one time with the scarf and the trench coat and the hat.
Great.
So.
It was
brilliant.
Great.
I remember that.
Okay.
I love that. I love him. I love the character. I love the episodes. And I remember, like, so let me go back to the image here, right? So number 8 was just in one TV movie. And at the time, I was like obsessed with all things Doctor Who, and that was it. Like Fox, I think, aired it, and they were thinking about bringing Doctor Who and like sponsoring it and making it an American thing. Um, and then it just never went anywhere. It just wasn't well received, and that was it. That was like the enterprise of Doctor Who. Like it aired, and then I had nothing forever. And so when they decided to do the revival with 9, I was stupid excited. Like the same kind of excitement as when Discovery was announced for Star Trek, because I'd gone without Doctor Who for so long. And of course, there have been comic books, right? So, like I mentioned, Discovery with Doctor Who, there have been crossovers even with Star Trek in the comics.
Mhm.
Again, I don't know how canon that any of that is to any of the actual universes, right? But just amazing. Like, what if the Doctor had to deal with like the Borg or what? It's just
Yes.
amazing, so amazing. Like those two franchises mesh together so perfectly. And even though the Doctor and Doctor Who in general is not super detailed in its entire like um canon on things, and things change rapidly, it's because it's a time traveler and it's explained away
Yeah.
easily. It's no big deal.
I
I
mean,
like
when you
that
muck
they
about
they
with
play fast and
time,
loose a bit.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely
you're
love it.
mucking about with time. Things are gonna get messed up. It's fine.
I want to give like a shout out too, because a few mentions here about the audiobooks, and then back to the radio show. There is an actor, Matt Addis, and he actually narrated my first 2 novels, and he does Doctor Who radio show, and I think he does some of the audiobooks, and he is fantastic. He's a delight, and he does the voices so well. He does a lot of like the side character, a lot of the robotic characters and stuff. So good. So if you are looking for a place to start on the radio show or the audiobooks, look up Matt Addis. He's so good.
Okay,
Brilliant.
awesome. And that, I mean, there's the thing, right? Audiobooks and
Audiobooks,
comics,
comics.
TV movies. We haven't had any movies with Doctor Who, which is shocking, considering how long this has
I
gone
feel
on.
like the Christmas episodes to me sometimes feel like mini movies.
They
does.
are.
I love that they do that though. Like, because it was something I really liked when I was a kid when a television show did a special holiday episode, whether it was a Halloween episode or whether it was a Christmas episode. I really liked that. So I think it's really cool that Doctor Who has made a thing of it. Like, it is part
Yeah.
of their lore that there will be a Christmas episode or a wintry episode. I think that's so much fun.
I do rewatch. There are a couple Christmas episodes I rewatch during the holiday season every year because they're so good. They're so good. I can't talk
They are.
about my 2 favorite because I'll start crying, and we don't want to do that.
No, that's it's funny that you mentioned, but it's funny you mentioned crying because when it comes to Doctor Who, I think it's so interesting how they're able to pull off a show that's actually very silly and humorous and campy, but then it hits you with an episode and you're crying. Like, that's
Yes.
something I did not anticipate when I started watching the first time I watched it. I'm like, oh, this is just kind of a fun, rompy type space show, and then you hit an episode where you're like, oh my god, this is serious.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
shows you how like subtle they are with the storytelling, but how it slowly like gets into you, these characters and the relationships and the regeneration. I mean, very well
Oof.
done.
Oof.
I think Blink was one of the first episodes I remember that I'm like, if you watch nothing of Doctor Who, just watch Blink, and you'll understand everything about Doctor Who.
I could get behind that.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
It is also a very standalone episode.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about the series is that with each Doctor, there are these episodes that are just kind of like you don't have to know anything about the background or what a Time Lord is. They're just like these phenomenal episodes. And I'm not going to spoil anything from the last season because I know Van hasn't
I
caught up.
have
And
not
I haven't
had-
caught up either.
I haven't had the like Emotional bandwidth. I have ranted about this several times recently to people, but I am having such a struggle watching any new show because most of them have 6 to 8 seasons. And first off, my brain is overwhelmed with other things. So, like adding in new media instead of rewatching old media is hard. But then to sit down and be like, you get 6 to 8 episodes, there's going to be no fluff, no filler. It is just all important. You need to focus, and you get so little. And I'm like, or I can go watch this older show that's got like 23 episodes in a season and they just do hijinks. I will get around to it. I'll get around to it. But like give me 12 episodes minimum in a series. Like
Well, just
if we're
bank
gonna
it,
have a
right? So like
season.
I'll do that. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Like I'll bank seasons of a show and then like I'll go
It's
and
so
watch
hard
it.
with spoiler culture nowadays,
my
though. If you have a presence online, it is so hard. Like I'm way behind on Doctor Who. I was spoiled yesterday about something new that happened, and I'm like
Oh, yeah. No, I
slightly
know
sort
like
of
the plot
disappointed,
to
but like
every
at the
single
same time, like,
episode.
okay. Yeah.
Every single episode has been spoiled for me. And that's not anyone's fault. They need to be able to get online and talk about it, and I understand
Yeah.
that, but it's just like completely unavoidable to be online and not have things spoiled for you.
Yeah,
But no.
that's the rough part about being so connected, right? Like one of the benefits is you're able to like geek out with your friends, like we're doing. But even just like opening up like my browser, so I use Microsoft Edge, shocker. And MSN News pops up as a homepage, and immediately because it tailors itself to like your viewing habits, it'll
It
just
shows you.
spoil shit for me
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah.
I hate it.
It's amazing. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
I do like in Doctor Who their spin-off series that they have. I think
I
it's
do
been
too.
unfortunate that none of the spin-offs have gotten wildly popular.
Torchwood was
Torchwood.
amazing.
Torchwood is the most successful of their spin-offs.
But even then, it wasn't as successful as it should have been. I think it could have held its own outside of
And
the Doctor Who universe.
yes,
It was
I think
very strong.
when we talked about Star Trek, we said we didn't really consider the later series' spin-offs because they stood alone so well, and like they have their own followings. They have, this is a completely separate thing. You don't have to enjoy the original series or even watch it to enjoy or be a huge fan. With Doctor Who, I feel like a lot of the spin-offs, you don't watch them unless you're already a Doctor Who fan, and you don't enjoy them unless you're already a Doctor Who fan.
For me, Torchwood was a lot like Angel to Buffy. Like, I think if you were a
Yes.
Buffy fan and then you grew up, and then Angel kind of does stand on its own. I mean, you do need the references in the beginning, but it does stand on its own. And it's definitely more adult, it's more serious. And I feel like that's kind of what they did with Torchwood, where they took the lore a little bit, but then tried to go in a more serious direction. And I feel like some Doctor Who fans really wanted the fun of like the Doctor Who feel. And then
Yeah.
some people really liked the serious aspect of Torchwood. And I think maybe it just really struggled to find its base.
I think so.
But I thought it was great. I think it could have stood on its own if it had been given the chance to go a little bit further.
I feel like the biggest problem with Torchwood was that they let stars get involved. And I hate to say this, right? But one of the things I love the most about Doctor Who is that it's not influenced by the US and American tastes.
Yeah.
It's
The last
campy.
season is very American.
Yeah, and I think that took away from it so much.
Do we
Like-
think that's because it was picked up by Disney, or
In
No,
fairness,
not Stars. It was Stars for Torchwood.
Stars?
we weren't
Okay.
going to get that season at all. Like, there's a gap between the last 2 seasons because BBC was like, we're not going to do it. And Stars is like, wait, we'll do it. And that might be my least favorite season, and the one I recommend people just not watch unless they're like mentally prepared. I feel like that season needs a trigger warning Anytime I recommend Torchwood to people, I'm like, okay, the second to last season is rough. It's still good, but it's rough. The last season goes dark. Every single episode, there's nothing light and funny in this season at all. It was from that period of time when Stars and HBO were like, hey, we have a little bit more ability to go darker and grittier, and we're gonna do it.
And it just didn't fit the tone of the show, in my opinion, right? Like, it just, don't get me wrong, the show was definitely darker than Doctor Who, but Stars went extra. And
they did.
What I like, and I know you guys have not caught up with the latest seasons of Doctor Who, but Disney is providing money and support to Doctor Who. But I don't think they're interfering with how it's being run. They're just, hey, this
well,
show's
that was
amazing.
what my question was going to be. Was do
Here's
you
a
think that it's
budget.
changed?
No, I don't think so. I love the last 2 seasons of Doctor Who. You can tell that it's definitely different because they have a budget for like some really cool special effects, and essentially one of the sets that they use you will recognize immediately. And I'm not going to give spoilers, but you will look at it as like, oh, what? Why is that in London? Anyway.
Okay. I'm just going to say one of my favorite things about Doctor Who is when they have no fucking budget. And I say that about most sci-fi shows. I like them better before they get a budget because they are just doing the most creative things, and I love it.
Because you have to go overboard in other things. You have to. The writing has to be stronger.
Yes.
You know, the acting has to be on point. If the person you're acting against is wearing like a very obvious rubber mask or something,
yeah. No, I like the ones where it's very clear that they did not have a budget. I think,
and I do love that. I do love that. And so I will say this: like, I don't think the production value has gone down as far as acting or creativity. It's still very cheesy, but you can just tell there is a budget. There is a budget for special effects, and that does take away a little bit of the charm. But I feel like the acting and the plot lines are pretty amazing the last couple of seasons. And of course, Russell T Davies came back as showrunner, and I think that he can do no wrong, to be honest.
I was going to say, honestly, that's my main reason to try and get back into it so I can catch up, because I was like, I liked his seasons before.
I'm not going to fight you on this. I should, but I'm not going to.
You can fight us.
I just want new. And as much as I have appreciated him in the past, I think that maybe somebody else would have different ideas that I liked more. And now I'm done.
I can get on that. But I think that's fair. I would say that for everything right now. I would say that for Star Wars. I'd say that for Star Trek. I would say like overall. And I feel like I'm going to give Star Wars some props here. I feel like they have pushed the writer's room a little bit harder and the director's chair a little bit harder than some other productions have. But yeah, I would.
This is not solely focused on Doctor Who. I feel this way about most big franchises. I'm like, switch it up.
Okay.
Switch it up.
And I'm gonna deviate a little bit and say that I agree. And I know that you're thinking of Legacy in your heart of hearts right now. And Picard, and I also agree. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
We won't mention any names, but
Ryan's comment here on Torchwood works best in Cardiff, I could not agree more.
I agree too. Yeah.
And then the lower the budget, the more chaos, crazier the show is.
I can't argue with that.
But I feel like when you have to be more chaotic and crazier, you also have to be more creative. So I think I don't know. Some of those
I do appreciate that.
Good.
I do appreciate. Look, I grew up watching reruns of the old Doctor Who, and even from 9 on, the budget was significantly better than what they were dealing with. I mean, Daleks are
Without a doubt.
basically
Without a doubt.
trash cans with plungers on them.
Plungers.
I love
And
them so much, though.
the most iconic villain in Doctor Who. So I appreciate that.
The Master has something to say about that, but okay.
You know what? I'm going to
Are
say
you going to
this.
say that's not a villain?
I'm going to say
that's
that
the
while I
Doctor's
appreciate the Master,
spouse.
the Daleks are the best.
I love the Daleks, but I love the Master too. So, but I love the Daleks. I
mean, they're both
would love to-
important, and I love them both.
would love to have a Dalek. He wouldn't be
Right?
able to
Love
get
that
up my
Dalek.
stairs, but
So if
They're
my
so
voice
cute.
cracks, it's because Texas is dealing with Sahara dust. So
Oh,
apparently,
yeah.
we get all the wonderful things in the world in Texas, and my allergies have been insane. So I swear I'm not dying. It's just Saharan dust.
he's just getting choked up over the Daleks.
It's true. It's choked
I'm
up
very
over
emotional.
the Daleks.
Very-
You know what?
As one-
There's this
as one
crazy
does.
thing that you can do. You can like move states. I've done it. You can just move states.
You can just move countries. I've done it.
You see, I'm more down with that option at this point.
Although we have a lot of pollen here, but mostly just in May. If you can
See?
survive May, you're good.
You know what? I
Shoot.
might go there and find out I'm not allergic to that pollen because I'm barely allergic to the pollen where I grew up. Like it was a little rough for a short period of time, but then I moved south and it's like, nah, I'm just going to be dead for a whole month out of the year. That's fine. That's fine.
The further south you go, the worse it is, by the way. Just,
See, I'm never coming to Texas.
I mean,
Again. I do
it's
like
a family. This is a family show, so I'm not going to say what I wanted to say. But
You can text me later. It's fine.
I will say that it's like the armpit of America. It's not the word that I was going to go for. I was going to go for something further south, but anyway.
Okay.
Moving on.
The spin-offs, we talked about Torchwood. I think the Sarah Jane Chronicles was the only one that had like multiple seasons. Most of the other ones, I think, had 1 or 2, and
Yeah, K9 and Company had once, I think, maybe 2
1.
seasons.
Totally Doctor Who was a kid show. Did you? I didn't know that
did not even
existed
know.
until I was looking this up. I did watch Class as it came out and was really disappointed. It did not go further. It was about teenagers, which is always fun. But they didn't like bring in the Doctor at all. And I'm like, we could bring in some people to get people a little
Yeah.
bit more interested. Even in like Deep Space Nine, we're starting by having Picard come in Voyager.
Yeah.
We're starting it at Deep Space Nine. Like we are putting very, very public, well-known things at the beginning to be like, hey, pay attention to us. It could have been a non-Doctor Who show so easily. Probably, like we talked about Section 31, could have easily been not Star Trek.
Can we not talk about that ever again?
Class could have been not Doctor Who, like so easily. I don't think they connected it very well.
So Sarah Jane was my favorite companion of the classic Doctor Who. And so the fact that she got a show and it ran for 5 seasons, and sadly the actress passed away, but I think that show would have kept on going, to be honest, because so many people love Sarah Jane.
Yeah, she was a fantastic character.
And yeah, and that show was so much fun. And let me just say,
So
when
cute.
they had the crossover with Doctor Who and
Yes.
Torchwood and Sarah Jane all together, I was screaming my head off. I am basically an insane person in my house when it comes to content I love. So
Or nobody else is as cool as you.
My siblings are really cool though.
I
Like
mean,
super cool.
Oh,
they
you're
can be
so
cool
nice.
without being as cool as you. Like, we
No,
don't need to be
they're like,
quiet while we enjoy the things we love.
no, I mean they get the same way about the things they love.
Okay. Just not this particular thing. Ooh, I would
Are we
like
moving?
slightly more merch for Doctor Who than we have. We have a pretty decent amount of merch. But
We
I
have
feel
more
like
merch
all
with
of the
Doctor Who than Star Trek.
I was just gonna say, there's like no Star Trek merch.
I feel like
Like-
Doctor Who also falls under the problem where all of my favorite merch is not sold by Doctor Who.
Yeah.
It's not officially licensed, which is Star Trek is the same.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying we don't have merch. I'm saying all of my favorite things are not things that I have bought from officially licensed.
On like a side note, when it comes to merch, and because
this is
Joseph is
official.
pulling out the moopsie here. When I was at that con last weekend, and Tawny Newsome was talking, and she said that the fans had made the moopsies before Star Trek had made the moopsies. She's like, I think I signed about 1,000 bootleg moopsies.
I love that.
Hilarious.
I love that.
That's why they need to get a fan involved in the merchandise.
Or
department.
Paramount needs to be bought out by a company that doesn't suck completely. I'm gonna throw that
Or
out.
that.
You know
That's just me.
what? Or both.
Yes.
Bought out by somebody who places fans in positions of power.
This
like
is
that.
fair.
I like that.
But I do think you're right. Doctor Who does have some pretty good official merch that's out there.
It does.
Somewhere I have a cookie jar.
I have the cookie jar and
Have
I
you
have
a cookie
sonic
jar?
screwdriver. Yeah.
I got a
we
sonic
talked about
screwdriver here.
our cookie jars last episode.
Well, they're so cool. They just keep coming back.
I mean,
the cookie jar that probably needs to have cookies in it.
Okay, like this right here. Like if I could find a way to make that happen, I would do that.
Buy Paramount with fan money? I don't know. Everyone put in $1. We'll buy Paramount.
That'd be
There
great.
has to be enough Star Trek fans to do that, right?
Probably.
I will put in $2 too. So
I'll put in $20. I'll put
oh my god!
Oh wow! Split out,
21. I want my percentage in the business to be high.
Marty wants to be like majority
stakeholder. Yeah, I need a stock holding position here. I need to get a board.
Okay. So
it's getting a little warm in here.
Transition to our next topic, I am just gonna say 9 is my favorite Doctor. And his leather jacket and Ian Malcolm's leather jacket are essentially the same. And no one has ever seen the two of them in the same room at the same time. So
but can you imagine if Jeff Goldblum played the Doctor just for like one episode? It would be hilarious. I would die.
I feel like he would be much better at the Master based on his Marvel appearance. We know he would be much better at the Master. But yeah. I could also see him as the Doctor, but I mean, 9 and Ian,
but like he just regenerates into Jeff Goldblum for like a minute and then regenerates into the next real Doctor.
I'm on board. I bet Jeff is on board. Somebody get his agent on the phone. He'd probably be like, yeah, sure.
I mean, let him sing for 30 seconds and he'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be on board.
So I guess we're talking about Jurassic Park now.
Yes. So it is Pride Month when we are recording. I don't know when people are listening, but it is Pride Month now. And so we have to talk about one of my favorite Bi-Panic films because obviously.
I thought because you had a picture of the T-Rex up, you were going to tell me something I didn't know. I mean, well, actually,
Look,
How does the society of all
I
females
like
get
strong,
produced?
dangerous women. So I mean, maybe not dinosaurs though.
I mean,
I'm killing Joseph right
some
now.
frog DNA is known to. Okay.
I mean, when
We're
we
not
talk
even gonna get into
about
the
Jurassic
genetics.
Park, we do have to talk about how we have great like trans representation right here.
It is a
like,
bi
the
panic
dinosaurs were like,
movie. It is a bi panic movie. It's up there with The Mummy, I think.
Yes. I mean, we have Alan, we have Ellie, we have Ian. If you are not panicking between the three of them, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you.
I struggled with it because when I was younger, I was like, I don't know who I love the most. And I would rewatch it. And every time I'd rewatch it, I'd be like, oh, today I love Alan. Today I love Ian. Today I love Ellie. I'm like, oh, today I'm just a Dilophosaurus. Yeah.
That's real.
I mean,
Can't argue with
I
that
mean,
one.
look, when it comes to who's my favorite character, I can't even pick that.
I mean, we all know who
not
my
possible.
favorite character is.
Ian Malcolm.
It's Ian.
I mean, we know it's
Obviously. we know.
See, I love
but
Ian
I don't
Malcolm,
know if
but
I want to be with him or I want to be him. It's very confusing.
There. That's the thing, is like, that's where I have the trouble with Alan, because when I watched it, I was like, I kind of want to be this guy. Like, I want to be this guy. I was like, how do I be Dr. Grant when I grow up? You know?
I have always loved paleontology and archaeology. And growing up, I thought for sure I was either going to be Indiana Jones, which is actually more of a he's more of a thief,
grave robber.
A grave robber than he is an archaeologist. Correct.
I mean, does it really belong in a museum?
Maybe no, it belongs to the
maybe
people.
It belongs to people.
It might belong in a museum in the country where it's from, because that's their cultural heritage. So my views have definitely changed on that. But archaeology and paleontology, like just the study of things past, has always fascinated me. So that's why, like, do I want to be Dr. Grant? Kind of. Like, do I want to be in Montana digging up dinosaur bones? Kind of. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
But then Ellie's also like not just a paleontologist, but like a paleobotanist.
Yeah.
Which is just amazing.
So cool.
And so
and she's
badass.
rocking those 90s shorts like no one else.
Right?
I mean, can we go back to the picture? Like, we have to go back.
Can we bring those shorts back? I love
She just rocks everything.
We should.
She's so cool.
Her costumes in the Jurassic World movie she's in, like all of her outfits are just like, wow, I love this. This looks amazing. You look fantastic. Thank you.
I was so glad that they brought them back. I just wish the story had been a little bit different, but I was glad to see them again.
You mean you wish it didn't suck? Just
look, there were dinosaurs.
There were dinosaurs. I forgive so much for dinosaurs. Okay.
I mean, look, I'm gonna see the new one. Do I think the new one's gonna be good? Not really, but I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna buy a ticket. I will be supporting it because I want more Jurassic Park movies.
I will watch it because of dinosaurs.
Even if they're not great, I just love dinosaurs. Yeah.
Yeah.
They could just be running around. Actually, it would be better if they were just running around on screen the entire time, and there was like way less people. Right,
I'm waiting for when they jump like 400 years into the future and the world has been retaken by dinosaurs, and it's kind of like a Dinotopia situation where like we're kind of like living with the dinosaurs, like Jurassic Park, but in the future. There was a TV show about that. It was like Terra Nova or something like that, wasn't there?
I want to
probably. I feel like it was Terra.
You want to pet Triceratops?
I would.
So you are
stop
Alan
at one.
Grant.
Yes, Yes, this is what I'm telling you.
But I think it is really amazing that this series came from like 2 novels. Well,
this series
novel
came from a failed screenplay draft. I was looking it up yesterday. I knew the rights got sold really early, but it was originally conceived as a screenplay in the 80s with a kid as the star, and everyone unanimously said this sucks. And so the writer went back and was like, I'm going to make adults the focus of this.
I always forget that Michael Crichton did screenplays before he really did novels, because he was ER, didn't he do ER?
Yeah.
Yeah. He did.
So he was actually working on ER with Spielberg when they discussed this, and that's how like the rights for it got like picked up. Like, this is a whole thing. I'm like, the lore is great. Started as a screenplay, got reworked to be more adult focused. The novel came out having already sold this like movie rights to it, which is amazing. The dream, right? The dream. But yeah, it started out as a screenplay and then a novel. The book is different. It's been years since I've read it, but the book is different. I feel like
the kids are switched in the book. I remember that.
And I like Ellie better I like her relationship with Alan better in the book, because she's very clearly a student, and there's not any of the weird sexual tension, but they did kind of like age her up for the movie, which I appreciated, and didn't give the student teacher dynamic. Like, she was more on a level field.
Yeah.
Which is great, because then they did some romantic interest thing, which would have been weird if they didn't change her character. But I did really like that we had opposing genders who were just friends, and I want to see slightly more of that. Can we just be friends? Just be friends.
I feel like her character in the movie definitely was more equal, like you said, but I kind of loved the book way more than I did the movie. One, because there were more dinosaurs in the book.
Fair.
I just like how, if you read a lot of Michael Crichton books, because he adds a lot of this like science, sometimes pseudoscience stuff into his books. I love like the pages where you would get like the DNA sampling, like printed out type things. I think that was like the first time I probably saw that when I was as a young reader. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this looks like legit. Like it convinced me that it must be real, right? So I love that he does that in a lot
of research. He
did.
He did so much research in all the things that he wrote. What was his background? I can't remember. Like, I thought he had a background.
Isn't he a doctor? Wasn't he a doctor?
I'm quickly looking it up as we're talking.
My brain says he was a doctor, but
no, but he was an English major.
English majors can be doctors.
Yes, this is true. But yeah, he did enroll in Harvard Medical. And I hated it and dropped out.
Oh my goodness, it's you two.
Oh my gosh.
Go to medical school. Nope.
I never went to medical school. I only was pre-med.
Okay, pre-med.
But I did, and I dropped out. And then I wrote books. So Michael Crichton and that's like 1 degree of separation between me and Michael Crichton.
Pretty
Thank you.
Cool.
Goodbye.
That's kind of amazing.
He's a little bit more successful than I am.
So far.
But also he's passed away, so you have time to catch up.
Yeah, he was quite young though when he passed away. So we're gonna hope. Yeah, I remember when he passed away because he was in the middle of a novel, and then like the editing hadn't quite been finished, I don't think, and then they just kind of like released it like quickly, and it fell under the radar.
If I had a half-edited novel and they just released it without like going back and editing it, I would come back and haunt every fucking person that allowed that. How dare you?
You're like haunting the publishing house.
How dare you?
I might do that anyway.
Oh no, he did actually get his MD.
I thought so.
Yeah, you're right. having to check multiple sources because sadly Wikipedia failed me. So
You can't trust them anymore.
no, people suck. Anyway, so I'm getting distracted and sidelined by Michael Crichton research now.
So started as a screenplay, we get a novel and a movie almost simultaneously. There is a second book, which the second movie is based off of. And then it just starts spiraling, honestly. And then it just starts spiraling. And I'm not just saying this because like Ian Malcolm isn't in the third movie. That's
Look,
not
but I liked the third one. I know people don't like the third one, but I liked it because I liked seeing Alan Grant again, and William H. Macy is hilarious. Like
the third
that
one
is
was
William
good.
H. Macy, right? Yeah.
I appreciate that they brought it back with Jurassic World.
Yeah.
I have writing critiques for all three of those movies. And that's not to say I don't have writing critiques for other movies in the franchise. It's just it's the thing again where we have way too much money and I don't think we spend it on the right things. And they're like, let's let CGI do way more work than it should. I think it's in Lost World. They are leaving the island. They're on a tanker. They have the T-Rexes on the island, and there's that giant sauropod that walks out. And if you, I'm tearing up thinking about it. If you do not cry watching that scene, there's something wrong with you. But like, I don't think anything in any of the Jurassic World movies has ever gotten me as emotional as that scene with the sauropod,
volcano scene.
The volcano scene. Yeah.
What about the volcano scene? That hurt me. I didn't like that. I understood that they needed that emotional resonance, but that made me sad.
Blowing up the island, yeah, that kind of was a little bit far-fetched for me. And it's not the same emotional impact though, right? Like there's a sadness, but it's also like so overdone. Whereas, and look, there were not enough dinosaurs in the original Jurassic Park movie. I get it. CGI was early on. It was expensive. They had a budget. So I knew that they had to do things creatively that I didn't agree with, but understood because of the technology at the time. But just the first scene where Grant sees the dinosaur, like, all the sauropods walking around. Like, welcome to Jurassic Park. That entire scene, when I first saw it, that hit me in the feels big time. I know it hit Dan in the feels big time as well.
Well, of course, obviously.
But you just had never seen dinosaurs portrayed so realistically. Now, I get it. Research has continued, and some of the things that they did definitely were more creative in nature or just based on older science at the time. Which the beautiful part of science is that it's not always right. It's always evolving and learning to be better. So
ever expanding
and refining itself based upon gained knowledge and not sitting firm on old ideas and being ignorant. Throwing that out there just for the general public.
This has nothing to do with anything.
Nothing to do with anything.
With the podcast.
Science is not canon. It is not meant to be canon. It's meant to be constantly challenged and involved. That's my soapbox. Sorry, I just felt the need to soapbox.
No. You're allowed on that soapbox anytime.
But, I mean, just the realism of the way they were portrayed. The fact that it was using the most recent science that we knew of.
Very realistic.
That dinosaurs were not cold-blooded, swamp-dwelling, lethargic animals, but were like these vibrant creatures full of life. Like, that was just so amazing to me.
Well, I mean, the dinosaurs aside, like, if you're a younger person watching I'm going back to the science. Like, aside from the dinosaurs themselves, like the science that was in the book and in the movie, it's like if you're a younger person now watching Jurassic World for the first time, you don't really understand when that first one came out, the book and the movie. It was like around the time of Dolly the sheep. And so like this idea that we could bring back dinosaurs. I mean, look, they brought back a version of the direwolf this year. Like
we are getting a lot closer to bringing back several extinct species, which is amazing.
Yeah. It was huge to see like that this was like even a possibility in people's minds. I don't know.
And that's the beauty of Michael Crichton's writing, right? Is he dived so deep into the cutting edge science at the time and wrote it into fiction in a way that was so believable, right? Like when I read the book originally before the movie came out, and it talked about extracting DNA from mosquitoes stuck in amber, it blew my mind. I'm like,
yeah,
but oh my god, I'd never thought of that. And the fact that they've been able to even cut open some dino fossils and get not complete DNA, but like fragments of DNA from it after millions of years, like it just throws my mind into like the possibilities are endless, and it's so cool, so cool. And that's what I loved about Michael Crichton's writing.
Yeah,
everything he did, like he did
Next. If you like Jurassic Park, you should read Next. That one is also really good, but like it's kind of scary. It's kind of scary. And then when you look at when it was written, you're like, oh wow. Yeah. It was scary back then, it's scary now. But like, yeah, he was definitely forward thinking when it came to putting the science into his stories.
I mean, he did Andromeda Strain, he did Congo. Timeline was another amazing.
Sphere, right? He did Sphere.
He did Sphere, yep. Like just so much about what he like. His books were just top notch. Maybe I could geek out about Michael Crichton and his books.
Oh, I was letting you. I mean, it's part of the podcast. It's fine.
I do have him on my shelf. He's these ones right here. there. I'm backwards. These ones here, right there.
So, have either of you watched the animated series? I think there are 2 animated series.
I think I saw some of one of them.
I saw part of one of them, but there was one of them I didn't see.
I think Netflix did them. They're for kids. One of my kids was obsessed with them for a while. And I sat down and watched, and they go a lot darker than I thought that they were going to go for a kids show. Like these kids are stranded on the island with dinosaurs and no adults, and I'm over here like freaking out.
I don't know if you guys remember. Do you guys remember when that Lost World video game for PlayStation was one of the first PlayStation games to come out? And it opens with the DreamWorks kid like throwing the fish like with the moon, and then you hear this like he gets pulled down off his little perch, and then you hear these like dinosaur sounds, like he gets eaten. Like,
no,
I remember as a kid putting that game in, and that's how the game opens, and I'm like,
the only Jurassic Park video game I've played is the Lego ones, and they're amazing. So the Lego
PlayStation
Jurassic
1
Park.
Lost World one was, but it opens hard. It's like, whoa.
Wow. Tells you exactly what's going to happen from the start. Wow. No, the shows go hard, and they tackle a lot of really cool things. Like it's not, we do get to see a lot of dinosaurs, and the kids in the show really care about the dinosaurs. It's really adorable, but some of the things, like the themes they dive into, it's really good. It's really good.
So there are several animated things. There's Jurassic World Dominion Prologue, which was a short film. There's Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous, which ran for 2 years. And then there's currently Jurassic World Chaos Theory, which is
not as good as Camp Cretaceous, in my opinion. In my opinion.
I have not seen Chaos Theory at all. And then there's tons of comics, obviously.
Lots of comics, video games. There's probably a Monopoly. There's a Monopoly for everything.
I used to have glow-in-the-dark Jurassic Park pajamas.
I didn't know this. What?
I mean, I was a kid. I wish I still had them.
A cool kid.
Yeah, they were awesome.
I like buying them for my kids.
It was like the dark blue with like the T-Rex head, and then like the bones went down the legs, and the bones all glue in the dark.
That's amazing.
This is me standing in the bathroom for like an hour to make sure I'm getting enough light.
I need to charge my PJs. I love that. I actually have 2 Jurassic Park shirts right now, and they are both from the kids section of Old Navy because they have really good Jurassic Park shirts regularly.
It bothers me that the kids get all the cool stuff. Like,
right?
Why the adults need it too? Like,
rude.
I mean, we do, but neurotypical people don't understand that, I guess. I'm not sure.
Well, the marketing needs to be better, is what I'm saying.
I mean, this right here, this comment. Do they make glow-in-the-dark PJs for adults? Yeah.
If they do, tell me. I will buy them because I have been chasing the thrill of those Jurassic Park glow-in-the-dark pajamas I had when I was 9 or whatever. I've been chasing that for like the last 31 years. I know you
can get Halloween-themed ones during Halloween that glow in the dark, but it's not hitting the same as Dino Bones.
I mean, Dino Bones, glow-in-the-dark T-Rex.
Yeah,
that's what I want. I want the Dino Bones. I also want to get like, I'm still thinking, I found online like a giant dinosaur statue thing. I think I've told you guys about this before. I found one that I could put in my yard behind my hedge so it overlooks the hedge. So when the kids come,
I think I said buy it now.
There's a school nearby me. Yeah, there's a school nearby me, and I'm like, I want to put it in there so when the kids are coming from school, this dinosaur head is popping out. I think it would be great. I'm trying to be that neighbor, like that neighbor. Like, oh god,
cool neighbor.
What is that neighbor doing now? There's a dinosaur in the yard.
I don't say anything glow in the dark, but there are adult-sized pajamas. JCPenney has up here.
Does JCPenney still exist?
I say this every time somebody says something about JCPenney. I watched a TikTok about their Pride merch, and I was like, wait, they're still around?
I guess I do see people still getting the JCPenney's like photos on their like TikToks, but I didn't know that they still had stores. I mean, go
they
good
actually
for them.
JCPenney photos still?
Yeah, I think they still do that.
Wait,
well, if we ever meet, we should go do that. Get a JCPenney photo shoot.
Oh my goodness, how hilarious would that be?
Oh my god.
In our glow dark Jurassic Park pajamas.
I feel like this is something that I need to hunt for now.
Yes.
JCPenney photos or glow in the dark pajamas?
All of the above.
Yes.
All of the above.
This is fair. Jurassic Park
one of my highlights.
Legos. Amazing. The selection of Jurassic Park Legos.
But Jurassic Park has always been top notch when it comes to their toys. I remember the first run of their action figures that came out. That first of all, that T-Rex was expensive as all get out, and I wanted one and never got one. But I had the little raptors where you would like squeeze their little thighs together, and then their mouth would go. Ah! It was awesome. Remember? Can't believe I just did that. Yes, I can.
I should have gotten out my giant tote of dinosaurs. My kids have so many dinosaurs.
Okay, but this.
Now I want to go play with dinosaurs.
I have an inflatable dinosaur.
Stop the podcast now so I can go play with dinosaurs.
We should do a JCPenney photo shoot in inflatable dinosaur costumes.
So,
or Joseph is going to be the dinosaur, and then we can be Ian Malcolm and Alan Grant. I've got an Alan Grant cosplay.
I'm okay with this whole plan.
Let's do it.
I'm down. Like,
let's do it.
It's in stone now. It's gonna happen.
I have to leave my house for this plan, but I might be convinced.
I mean, what else have you got going on if not this?
The older I get, the more leaving my house is just like,
I know. I have to leave my
why?
house next week, and I really don't want to.
Gross. Didn't you just leave your house?
I did, and now I'm going to New
and now you
York.
have to do
So
it
if anybody
again?
watching is going to be in New York City, they can
Damn
come
it,
and
I'm
see
on
me,
call this week. Otherwise, I
and
would totally
I'll
get
sign
you,
some
but
books for them.
I am not going to New York.
Yeah,
There's so many people. Why did
I
you
know.
have to go to a place with if there were
That was
less
not.
people?
I
How
yeah,
dare
I know.
you not force
I
them to go
I
to
probably
a
won't
less
leave the hotel. Look, last time I went to New York, I didn't leave the hotel except to go out and get a bagel, and then I was like, okay, got my
Okay.
bagel. I'm staying inside.
Okay, but there are a couple of really cool museums that you should just
That's
go
true.
to for me.
I will. Maybe I'll go to one.
That's
or
like
two.
you
the
gotta
only
just go
reason
to
I
the
would go.
library. Like
I
with
do
the
want to see the
lions.
library. The library's cool.
You've got to go in like Ghostbusters cosplay though.
Oh no, I need one. Oh. Okay,
That would be so funny.
we should move on, or we're gonna need a part 3 to this podcast.
Oh, we're gonna.
I'm excited about this next one.
Oh, next one.
I won't put anything.
Battlestar Galactica.
Cool.
I'm actually doing a
Yay.
rewatch right now. I'm about to start season 4 of the new show, and I'm like,
Show.
Battlestar Galactica is so good. It's so good.
Did any of you watch the original growing up?
Not growing up.
Not
I've tried to watch it
no.
since then. Whatever streaming service I was trying to watch it on, it like left the streaming service while I was like in the very early, and then my attention never decided to find it and watch it again. So
It's so cheesy good.
I am saving up to
It is
buy the
very
big
cheesy.
box set that has the original series and the new series and the movies in it, but it is ridiculously expensive.
I believe that.
Speaking of Biopanic, like, are you not getting Biopanic from this cast of the new series, like the reimagined series?
Yes, because every time I
wow.
watch the new series, I can't decide who I like the most. Again, who do I like? Who do I want to be? It's like,
who do I want to be? Who do I want to be with? Who do I just
Exactly.
want to be friends with?
yeah,
It's difficult. It's difficult.
Yes, to all of them. Wait,
I
what?
don't know.
Yes,
There
to
are
all
a
of the
couple
above.
people I would just kick out of an airlock, but
Yeah, well, you got to have those. You got to have those.
but I mean, everybody is amazing.
I do like that this show, this fandom is slightly different than some of the others we've talked about, because we had an original show and then they did a full reboot of said original show. And it was not them like expanding on it, which it kind of sort of is, because they changed a lot of characters and did a lot of stuff and then made it so it's all a loop anyways. But it is very much a reboot.
Yeah.
And the tone of both shows is very different. I think we get a lot more fun and campy in the original, and the reimagined is
it's so serious.
Dark.
To me, the reimagined Battlestar Galactica is like it's like Deep Space Nine if Deep Space Nine was dark all the time. And I love those two. I love those two shows. Like, I like to compare those two shows because I feel like those two shows, they hit a lot of the same thematic elements. But Battlestar just takes it.
It's the same showrunner as DS9. That's why.
That's true. That's a good point. But
I mean, Ronald D. Moore would have made DS9 that dark if he could have.
Yeah, you're right. He would have.
That's fair. I do like, and anytime I talk about Battlestar, I do kind of touch on this, and we talked about it in our moral dilemma episode, that it is so difficult to pick one episode for our moral dilemma discussion.
Every episode,
every single one.
Dilemma.
Every single one. And that's one of the things I like about it. You could, I suppose, sit and watch it and get absolutely nothing moral out of it whatsoever. I don't know how you are watching it and
if you're
staying invested.
I mean, that's like watching like Star Trek and not understanding that Star Trek has been woke since the 60s.
Yet
I mean,
Ted
people do it,
Cruz
though.
is a Star Trek fan. Let me
Oh
remind
my
you.
god. Are you trying to
I don't know. But Battlestar is like, but I think that's one of the things that was so good about Battlestar, especially those first like 2 seasons, is like that every episode kind of forced you to think about like it's not really good guys and bad guys. It's just everybody is like in the gray area. Everybody's making good and bad decisions, right?
I think they are all very human, and
there are very few characters that I feel are like bad, just straight bad characters. And even the ones that are, I guess you can almost kind of make
Ellen was pretty bad.
Yeah, but you know who was worse than Ellen was the commander of the Pegasus.
Oh.
I have to give Ellen a pass every time I remember the captain of the Pegasus.
Yeah.
Rolaren, whoever Rolaren was, she was hardcore bad. But like they made you understand why she was bad, but at the end, like she was bad.
She was really bad.
She was bad.
I mean, Ellen was rough.
So when this show was out, they had a like Battlestar Galactica mini convention within Comic Palooza here in Houston. Okay. And so it's the first convention for that show, and all the actors were there. So the actor who played Ty was there. Edward James Olmos was there. Edward James Olmos and I had such a long conversation. He followed me back on Twitter. And I was so mad when things happened to Twitter and I rage quit because I lost that. Like I deleted that account and deleted my connection with Edward James Olmos. The actor who played Ty, though, was by far the most just amazing human being I had ever met. He was so kind. He was walking around, talking to everybody, just like he was so excited to be there. He was nerding out with us. I also have a picture with what was the actress who played Callie, who ended up being in that weird cult.
Oh yeah.
Met her, and she was really friendly with a bunch of us, which going back to it, I was like,
See, Callie is another airlock character for me. I could never get on board with her. Like I understand her.
Callie.
I couldn't stand Callie. I couldn't stand her from the very beginning. I was like,
maybe you're picking up on her like actual like human.
I don't know.
Actress like vibe.
Or she was just so good, like at the role, because she made me not like her like instantly. And I'm doing a rewatch, and I'm trying to like remind myself, like, okay, I'm trying to watch it with like open mind, like, and see, do I notice things I didn't notice before? Do I dislike characters now that I loved before, and vice versa? And it's been an interesting experience because I feel like watching that show with age really changes your perspective on a lot of it.
I need to rewatch. That's for sure. Okay, so Michael Hogan has a lot of serious health issues lately. There's like GoFundMe for him. So I'm putting that up there just because I feel bad for any actor who's dealing with like falling out of the public spotlight and dealing with these types of issues. So definitely, if you can contribute, because we all know how American healthcare is, please do so.
American healthcare. Wow.
And you know, and we know that the reboot got Caprica. It got the
yes, it got
that season, which I actually liked.
I did too.
I liked that show. I was mad when it got canceled because I was like, there's potential here. There's potential here.
There was potential.
The biggest problem with that show was it was on the Sci-Fi Network, which at the time was trying to rebrand itself as the Wrestling Network.
Okay, the Sci-Fi Network had some identity problems for several years.
As soon as they changed their name, like the spelling of sci-fi, I was like, what? But Caprica was great, and the acting in that was phenomenal. The one thing that's always gotten me with the Battlestar series is Bear McCreary's music in that series is
amazing.
It blows me away. It's impeccable. It's a perfect soundtrack.
It is amazing. Soundtrack.
Absolutely. Because I love how if you listen to the music on that show, you can see that like he has created different musical like cultural musical types for the different planets that the characters are from. And so when certain characters are on the forefront of the series, you hear the music that's relative to their planet culture, but then of course those cultures are taken from our culture because everything is a loop, as Van says. And it's so good. The musical score is just it's one of the best musical scores I've ever heard.
So good. Battlestar Galactica.
But now, like, because of Battlestar, like, if I'm watching a show, like, I can pick out a Bear McCreary like soundtrack now in any show because I'm just like, this sounds like there's intonations of Battlestar Galactica in this music here.
I know this. That's funny.
I do wish it had gotten one more season though. I feel like if it had gotten one more season for it, but less for the main show, and I would have been happy. I don't think it ended in the right spot. I understand why they ended it there with the whole. Oh, you wouldn't give BSG an extra season? See, I would give BSG an extra season and Caprica an extra season.
I felt would take some out when they get to the planet and they're like, oh, this is Earth, but it's been destroyed. Blah, blah, blah. And then they get up and fly and go off and do nonsense. I would have ended it there. I felt like that was a great end. And we still could have had that, oh, we're going to resettle. This is the continuation. But then I feel like any episode past that, I care less about than any episode previous to it. So by the time we get to the big Cylon battle, where they're just like, oh, now we're best friends with Cylons.
Yeah.
Not really going to do a lot to explain that. Now we're all best friends, and then we're going to take them all with us to the new planet.
I feel like he was rushed, and we knew we didn't have enough time to fully flesh out those ideas, right?
Well, I think a lot of the answer is here in this comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, the writer's strike.
Because of the writer's strike.
Messed up. So
because you saw that in a lot of shows around that time period, like Lost.
I never watched Lost.
The terrible endings of so many good shows were lost to people not valuing
I
writers.
proudly never watched Lost because I had a feeling that J.J. Abrams was going to screw over the fans at the end. So I was like, I'm not watching this show.
Yeah. Scott makes a good comment here. Heroes also.
Heroes crushed me. Heroes.
That was a hard one. That was a hard loss too.
Man, now I'm just depressed. All of the good shows. All of the good shows that we lost. Which was worse? What happened to shows during the writer's strike, or what happened to shows following 9/11 where everything went crazy patriotic for a couple years?
Well, you know, that destroyed a bunch of shows too. It destroyed the X-Files spinoff because it was too close to that was their storyline of the first season, and then that actually happened, and they were like,
so
they got canceled.
Star Trek Enterprise because they had that whole Florida plot line, and then things happened, and then it that wasn't the Enterprise's only problem, but there's this very distinct difference you can tell when 9/11 happened while watching that show, and that is fascinating.
Well, if you want a fascinating look at the movie industry and history, you should go back to the movies that released post 9/11 and count up how many war movies there are, like how many Saving Private Ryan type movies come out to try and drum up interest in joining the military.
I'm going to
There's a lot.
Not go on my rant now because that will take the rest of the episode.
Okay. Did we put a time limit on this episode? We might have room for one more if we're fast.
Let's go.
Yeah, Battlestar Galactica spin-off books, comics. I think there's a video game. I've never played it.
There's definitely some really good graphic novels and stuff.
Yes.
There was a really like I think it was like an open concept kind of like online game with Battlestar Galactica that was being developed.
I would love to see something with Battlestar Galactica return. Not necessarily, I'm not sure how or with who, but I would love to see something come back with it. Mostly, I just want these people from the show to come back and have jobs again, because I love the actors from Battlestar Galactica, and I feel like they've all been fighting for their lives since Battlestar Galactica, and I want them to see
get these
full
people
success.
paid.
Yeah,
get these people paid.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I don't disagree with that at all. So yeah, I agree.
Speaking of
dun, dun,
technology in the past that's more futuristic than what we have now. I don't know how that's a segue.
We're waiting for the segue.
The thought of aliens having advanced technology and visiting the Earth long ago is the subject of our next topic.
I wonder what that could be.
Stargate. So this started with the movie.
Which I remember seeing in theaters as a kid. I had no idea. I was like, my mom's like, let's go to the movie. What do you want to see? And I'm just like, Stargate, because it's like got star in it.
Wow.
So, and I was
that
like,
should be enough.
It's my second favorite star-related series or franchise.
Such a good series. Such a good franchise. And this is one that's also kind of like Star Trek, where I feel like the spin-offs, quote unquote, are not really spin-offs.
No.
Because I feel like Atlantis stands on its own.
Yes.
I mean, but there's a lot of mix between Atlantis and SG-1. So
I don't think you have to watch either.
No, you don't have to.
Like, I don't think you have to watch them both. I think you can just watch one and it's fine. So the movie came out in '94, and it has a completely different vibe to the show.
Yes.
And I think this is hilarious.
I mean, yes. I love the fact that SG-1 references the movie in casual ways, like, oh, there's another Jack.
Yeah.
And they move forward based upon things that happen from the movie.
Yes.
But they don't ever deep dive into like, why is it a different actor? Or like,
yeah. Which is fine.
Like
that doesn't bother me at all. I feel like the movie itself was very military. Science took a back seat, and the show is very science over a military background.
Yeah.
So like the vibes changed. And I appreciate that.
Well, I think it becomes that, because I think the first couple seasons of SG-1 do feel very like Air Force centric, but I think it does definitely pushes in that direction of science being like the predominant thing we're doing here.
I mean, it basically turned into a very Star Trek-esque kind of way of doing things. Like the themes and stuff, they go into so much more as far as addressing things through the show that you would expect on the surface, right? So like, you're right. The movie was definitely very like, rah, 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 the US military is the best. And it goes from that into a very like, this is true sci-fi. This is truly like talking about these deep subjects in a way that you see in other amazing sci-fi franchises. Let's say star-based franchises, but anyway.
Star-based franchises.
Star-based franchises.
I like that they loosened up Jack O'Neill's
Star
character.
Wars and Battlestar Galactica.
And Stargate.
Just throw a star in the title.
If there's a star in it, I will watch it to death.
Yes, absolutely.
Pretty much.
But I like that they changed Jack's character. I like that they added more levity to him.
Yeah.
That was the right move.
This was the right decision. I'm going to let you guys talk because I don't know if you can hear it. My house got really loud. So I'm going to go make someone Well, I can't,
Can't hear
and
it.
it's annoying me. It sounds like elephants are walking above me.
Oh, maybe it is.
I'll be right
They
back.
came in through the Stargate.
Maybe
That's
they're
a
flying
problem.
elephants. Is Dumbo in your house?
Okay, listen, flying elephants fine, but I'd rather have dinosaurs. So, fingers crossed.
Which, speaking of flying dinosaurs, there are no
That
flying.
this is a funny comment. This is funny. I do like that they added more L's to Jack's name. Yeah.
And that is the reference, right?
Yeah.
It was hard for me.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say it related to this comment. It was a little hard for me to watch after Jack left.
I agree.
I felt like the four of them were like the heart of that show, and having any one of them missing.
I did like the new kind of guy that they had to kind of like replace Jack. I thought he was an interesting character. What bothered me was then going straight from watching SG1 into watching Atlantis. I felt like those two characters were too similar. The one that was the new SG1 guy and then the new Atlantis guy. That's where I struggled a bit, because to me I was like, they looked very similar.
They were similar characters.
And they were similar characters. And so that's a little bit where I struggled. But I really love Atlantis. I love that Atlantis was definitely like that the scientists were in charge. Like it was the scientists. I love the character of Dr. Weir. I thought it was because I felt like in the later seasons of SG1 and we got to see more of Sam Carter, the science really became forefront. And so then when they put Weir its forefront of Atlantis, I really loved that because she was a scientist.
I love that.
I wish she had remained, obviously. Like SG1 wouldn't change it like that, but
John Shepard, who was the colonel in Atlantis, I love that he deferred to Weir so easily.
Yes.
At first.
I did like that a lot. Yeah.
I didn't like what was his name?
They all have similar names, so I always get them mixed up.
It's
Jack, John, and
the guy who was the captain of the ship that eventually came to Atlantis, and he was trying to take over, like the guy who played
Mitch Pileggi from the X-Files?
Yeah. Mitch, yes, yeah. I didn't like the initial conflict between him and Weir when he came over. That bothered me. Like, I love that Atlantis, like you said, was all science run, and nobody really questioned Weir. And they did Weir dirty, to be honest.
They did do Weir. And everybody agrees with that for sure. And I was sad that Stargate Universe was dropped because I thought that was a very good show. I thought it was nice to see a darker side of the main characters. Like Robert Carlyle, he killed it in that series. He was creepy. He was good.
There was so much that was
I liked him.
That show. It had that darker tone, just like BSG, and I think that's what they were going for.
Yeah.
But again, this was at the time where
too.
The Sci-Fi Network was going through all this identity issues, and they canceled it. It's like they canceled all their sci-fi shows.
It made no sense.
We are all allowed to have an identity crisis at least once in our lives.
Okay.
The Sci-Fi Channel should not. The Sci-Fi Channel's identity crisis should not be. I'm going to go from sci-fi to wrestling. That's not an identity crisis. That's
they're both fictional.
Your brain with somebody else's brain.
Look, while I appreciate what you said, and I would agree
science.
On an individual level, when your entire brand is sci-fi, I feel like that identity crisis is stupid because this is an organization dedicated to one thing and one thing only.
But look, the one good thing about the Sci-Fi Channel's identity crisis is we got so many Sharknado movies.
Yes, that's.
I'm gonna go on mute because I have some choice words right now, and Mrs. T, I'm not going to say how I'm doing good this episode. I am not.
It's not a shark or a tornado. It's a Sharknado.
I'm sure if my parents have made it this far in the episode, You'll be okay saying a word or two.
I will never forgive the Sci-Fi Channel for turning the Sci and the I into Y's.
It's
Like,
because
I
they
feel like
want.
that's when it went downhill.
It's like the HBO rebranding where we're gonna go HBO Max.
That's
then
a
just
real
Max.
that's a
Then
real
HBO
identity
Max.
crisis. We're just going back and forth. We're like, today we're HBO, today we're Max, today we're HBO Max,
Nigga.
today we're HBO with a little plus sign, or today we're logo
I
is
have
blue and
no
now we're
idea.
logo is black, and like, who cares? Just bring back Deadwood.
That would be nice.
I feel like, okay, so first I'm going to put this comment because there's a reason for this. Now, Van, I know you were joking, so I'm not going to attack you on this, but let me just say this.
You're
I
not
think
gonna attack me on something? Seems out of character.
I think corporate entities are fucking stupid most of the time, and they make stupid fucking decisions, like the rebranding stuff, because we had a focus group and we don't think sci-fi should be spelled, the way it's supposed to be spelled, so we're going to rebrand it. It's a cash grab. Like, they wanted to take all of the stuff that was branded as sci-fi and make sure that they could sue the ever-living fuck out of anybody who would make fan content or whatever. It's the same BS that Universal and Paramount and all these companies do. Like, it's fan-based stuff. They're showing support, which drives people to your content. So maybe find a way to support them instead of, screwing them over. But I digress.
Wild
Do you really,
takes
though?
there.
You really digress.
No.
I don't. You know me.
Look,
I'm
we need to have another season of Sci-Fi or of Stargate universe. And no, actually, it doesn't even have to be a new season. We just open with a new episode of Stargate universe, which then leads into a new Stargate show somehow.
Yeah.
Like,
we just need more Stargate, right?
We need more Stargate.
Okay.
Yeah, we need more Stargate.
We need better
What
Stargate
we need
merch.
is we need somebody to go through the Stargate and end up at Ruapente with all the Klingons and be like, turn around and go back.
Oh, yes, please.
I would love that.
Wouldn't it be if you could have the Stargate crew go through and end up on a Star Trek planet? That would be awesome.
That would be so much fun.
I kind of feel like they should end up on Romulus.
What if they just end up in like another quadrant that we haven't explored yet in the Star Trek universe? It's like,
Four quadrants we've done.
Yeah, but
we actually haven't done much of the beta quadrant, to be honest.
What if there we go. We could do that. Or we add another quadrant, which I know makes no sense because it's a quad, but like we could make it like a quindrant. The magical quindrant epsilon that just popped out of nowhere thanks to Q. And it has Stargate.
Q would be the cause of this.
I would be happy with that. But
I would love to see Stargate come back in a way.
Yes.
That
I'll take any Stargate.
Any?
I'll take any.
I mean, and I know that there's been a lot more focus on it because Amazon has bought out MGM, and they're looking to have these franchises that they can make money off of.
Is everybody frozen except for me?
You're not frozen.
Oh, you guys
frozen?
Am I frozen?
I'm frozen.
Nice.
Oh, now you're moving. It was Joseph.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's
we're
your
all
internet
back together
connection.
again.
Oh, it's my internet connection. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm living in the future
prepared
here.
to blame Texas. Sorry, Joseph.
I mean, that's fair.
It's obviously the sandstorm thing you have going on there.
No, okay. I mean, it's Texas. Our power grid sucks, so everything sucks. Like, I'm sure the wind was blowing
what happens
outside.
when it snows there.
I feel so bad for Texas anytime it's like below 50 degrees. Poor guys.
You should just feel bad for Texas all the time. Anyway,
I've got it. I've got it.
they end up in Texas.
We bring back Stargate, and we get all the Battlestar Galactica actors who are currently like trying to get work. We put them in the new Stargate show with some of the older Stargate people who are also probably looking for work. We put them in the new show.
We need
And
to send
it's
these
like-
ideas to the three fries so that they can pass that on to their friends.
Yeah. Fries, if you're watching.
Yeah.
Pass it on. Pass it on.
We've got an idea. Let's pitch this.
We have an idea. And we bring Weir back, obviously.
I
my
mean,
god.
yes.
And we bring her back, so she's got to like get this going. And then suddenly we've got Jamie Bamber and Katie Sackhoff on the Stargate team. How hilarious would that be? It would be awesome.
I mean,
We get James Callis for a role. Although I wish we could have seen him more in Star Trek.
I'm going to say this, right? It's not out of the realm of possibility, given the fact that, what's his name? Ben Broder and Claudia Black were from another show on Sci-Fi.
That's right. That's true.
Right.
That's right.
So they were on Farscape, and they came over to SG-1, and they just like
blended seamlessly.
They blended in, and it just worked.
Yeah,
it just worked.
I'm here for this one. I'm here for this one. See, Scott's on it. James Callis and Alexander Siddiq play twin brothers. They don't have to be twins. They can just be brothers. I love it.
That would be perfect.
We got a plan. We got a plan.
Like the Cylons, we have a plan.
But I feel like we've strayed so far from the topic. Which is
shows.
Honestly, I feel like of all of these fandoms, if there's one that has the power to be resurrected, I think it's Stargate. Honestly, because I feel like the Stargate fandom is so strong, and it does not die. The people that love Stargate, they continue to love Stargate. It goes on forever, and they are so serious about their Stargate.
It's a pretty nice fandom too.
Yeah,
like
I do.
It is. They are very nice.
Very, very polite. Which is not something.
I mean, they all look scary when they're walking towards you at a con because they're all dressed up in like tactical gear.
Well,
they're super nice. They're super nice, and they are very passionate. And I feel like they should bring this back somehow.
I kind of feel like I should have done a costume change, except that takes so much time.
It's so much gear, man. It's so much gear.
So much gear. But like it's like right there. Like it's hanging on my door.
The disappointment of every Stargate fan watching right now.
In Battlestar cosplay, but I was not even tempted with Stargate because I don't have one. I feel like this is a failure on my part.
Stargate is so
I feel
cosplay.
It's a failure on my part as well.
Wait, neither of you have it?
No, I don't have a Stargate cosplay. It's been on my list, but it's so much gear.
It's a lot.
So much gear.
I honestly though, I have in a shop. I have a Stargate Atlantis cosplay sitting in a shopping cart in like one of the million tabs up here on my computer.
Oh, so pretty.
See, nice.
See, if I were gonna do a cosplay, it would be Hathor.
Oh, nice.
And then I have to make that.
Yeah,
I just went easy. I was like, I could do.
And then
I would probably do Stargate Atlantis just because it's an easier outfit to pull off.
That's what I don't have an Atlantis one. I need that.
We need Atlantis ones.
Because
the cool thing about Atlantis is that you can slap on like your country flag. Like you can change the country flags out. I love that. That was the coolest thing about the con. Was that
only life was that
fans,
easy.
You could see where everybody was from. All the Stargate fans, you knew where they were from because they had like
so cute.
I'm like, I love that. I loved it. It was so adorable. I loved it. You guys are so cute.
Adorable.
Stargate fans.
Okay.
Adorable. I love that for them.
Do we have time for one more? Or are we gonna have to do a part 3?
If we just do the next one on the list and then skip the comics.
Yeah, let's do that.
Make that its own thing because we would be talking about comics.
That forever.
That's a whole other episode. It's
Okay.
a whole other Babylon 5. We're not going to delve too deep into Babylon 5 because Marty hasn't finished it yet. She has excuses.
bad.
She's been very busy.
I have
We
so many
forgive.
excuses.
How far have you gotten?
You are forgiven.
I've seen the first season. That's sorry. I'm taking July off. That's my plan. My plan is to take July off. I'm gonna catch up on shows. I'm gonna catch up on reading.
You
I'm
keep
gonna catch up on
saying you're
sleep.
gonna take July off. You're gonna have a very busy July, and I love that for you.
Did I restart The Next Generation yesterday? Maybe. Look,
Baby,
don't judge me.
that's fine.
Like
I've
like
been watching
Van,
it in
I needed
French.
to watch
It's
something I
very
know.
entertaining.
Oh, fun. I just saw the episode where Riker got to wear his blue shiny chest revealing outfit for the woman dominated planet. Definitely a high point of this morning.
The things he does for his job. Yeah. Moving on
All right.
from
School
that,
me
Babylon 5.
on Babylon 5.
Babylon 5 was originally pitched to, I believe, Paramount. And they were like, hey, turn it into Star Trek and we'll make it. And the dude was like, actually, no, I don't want to. And he pitched it to somebody else. And they're like, yeah, let's make this. I love the premise. He kind of had a outline for 5 seasons. Love that. It is... So not every show from that time period, we're talking, it came out in 1994. Not every show from that time period holds up now and you can just watch it. But it is actually, right now, so relatable to real world events. I think we're in season 3 of our rewatch and Earth is losing its mind. And I'm like, this is like far too close to actual current events. It's uncomfortable. But timeless.
I think J. Michael Straczynski is just one of those creators who, much like the other franchises we love, just produced a show that was timeless. And I know there's a lot of controversy between DS9 taking the idea, but they're 2 totally different shows that share common themes, but they do it in very different ways. And I think it just works amazingly. Right?
We have discussed this for wow.
I mean, you can see that just in the first season, that they are two very different shows that tackle similar themes and sometimes with different answers to those themes. So I think that
what I love about Babylon 5. And so, you know, I just remember growing up, people would always like, how can you be a Star Trek fan and watch Babylon 5 or vice versa? It's like, I love all sci-fi. And I think you get answers and you get exposure to these wonderful things in different ways. And it just like enriches like your appreciation of the things that you do love besides, you know, this one thing. I love that there's so like I think there's a cartoon series, isn't there? Like
there was a cartoon movie that came out.
There's a cartoon movie. They've done comics, obviously.
They've done comics. They had several movies.
Pretty sure they had novels.
Out.
Didn't they have novels?
I think there are novels, comics. I think they tried to do a spin-off Rangers show.
They would
have been better, but they did have Rangers, like a Rangers movie, which is good.
They had a Rangers movie. It was meant to be like you said, a spin-off. And then there was Crusade, which was like a 1 season kind of tied to the aftermath of what happened. And it kind of ties into the Rangers as well. So that was kind of cool. And I was really sad when that came to an end.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, like all things Babylon 5 I wanted to consume, much like BSG, right? Much like Stargate, I just need more of it.
I need more. I do have some of the toys, which I love. We did not get a ton of merch for it, but we did get merch. And because it's not a super popular fandom, it's actually semi-affordable on eBay, which I love. So I have a lot of the little action figures. Like, yay!
I think one of the things to note is the special effects on the show, even
Are
at the time,
perfect.
were not traditionally done. So they did it on a budget. There was this cool little piece of hardware at the time, so like a deep dive at the time. It was a little board that you can install on your PC that could allow you to do special effects. And at the time, the compute power really wasn't there for most consumer PCs, but they used this board to do their special effects, which is why at the time it was pretty cool and it fit in just fine. But it's had to be remastered for modern times just because it's not holding up with the more detailed TVs of the era. So that's
It's
one of the
absolutely
things.
perfect, and I love their low budget, and it makes me happy.
There's charm to it.
There is.
But I love it. I love the religious themes. I love the themes overall on social issues and the way they did that. If you watch the show, you can pick up like the struggle of the Narn, for example. Like you could put several different countries in place of the Narn, right? Insert country name here, and it
Yes.
just works. It
Yes.
just works. And I think these universal themes are what kind of makes it timeless. Even the social effects are not necessarily.
It was ahead of its time in a lot of things, so it is a show where I'm not like cringing every episode because like that would not be made now. They were very ahead of their time. And I think a lot of that is because a lot of the ideas that they had, and a lot of even the ideas for the characters that the actors had, the studio said, no, you can't do that. That's too much for television. Yeah, roll it back, make it more subtext." So they were ahead of their time. And I really appreciate it because now I can watch it and enjoy it and be like, yes, this is fantastic. This is beautiful.
And I mean, speaking of,
And we all hate President Clark.
we're not there. No spoilers from Marty.
No, she will.
It's okay. It's okay.
Marty's going to immediately hate President Clark.
Everybody will. Everybody does.
It's instantaneous. You can't.
I'm ready. I'm ready to dislike a character.
You're
Give me somebody to add to my airlock list.
Oh, yeah.
Immediately, yes.
I
I have to say that okay. I liked Sinclair better as commander. Throw that out there. Throw that out there.
think they are very different in how they approach things.
They are very different.
They are very
but the one person that is absolutely amazing throughout the entire show is Ivanova.
Ivanova, yes, absolutely. She is perfection at every single point in time throughout the show.
So
she has never done a wrong thing a day in her life.
Never. Not once. Despite what the authorities might say.
Ivanova is God.
I love Delenn as well.
Delenn is perfect. I do like her a little bit better before her hair, but that's a whole other spoiler thing. I won't get into that.
Dun dun dun.
In the
And
first
Now I'm
season, all
curious.
the aliens, all the makeup and prosthetics for the aliens are more alien.
Yeah.
And there's definitely a shift in season 2 where things are slightly more human,
Okay.
which is fine, and you get used to it. But I did like how alien the main cast of characters are with
Except for
Londo
the
and
Centauri.
Delenn and Jakar. I mean, that
They really
wild
weren't
hair
that
though.
alien. But they really weren't that alien. Like, I loved the Narn, right? I loved the Minbari, obviously.
Yes, obviously.
I honestly did never like the Centauri, though. Like, they never did.
Okay, but you love Veer. There's no way you don't love
Okay,
Veer.
but Veer is like Rom in a way.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So yes, I love Veer the same way I love Rom.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
which
He is not the most Centauri. I'll give you that one.
he is not. But you know what? Okay, you're right. I'm trying to think of no, he's not the most Centauri.
Is this a show you feel like could come back, or do you feel like it needs to stay where it was? Like it was good in its run.
I feel like they could have spin-offs based upon it. But like a lot of things weren't done because some of the actors passed away. Some critical actors passed away. And when that happened, J. Michael Straczynski at the time even said, like, we're not going to move forward with these plans because without this person, there is no show. So like there were some spin-off ideas and stuff that he definitely wanted to do back in the day. So I kind of want to honor, like, I would love to see the powers that be honor that. Of course, studios being studios, and corporate entities being corporate entities. They don't necessarily care. They have the rights. They can do whatever the hell they want, which is sad. But I could see things inspired by it moving forward. The spin-off I was talking about, the Crusades or the Crusade show, was definitely left open-ended, and there is room for exploring that. And it would actually be kind of cool to explore it like decades later, just because of some of the things that were said during that show. So I could see that happening. I don't actually think I would want them to remake the whole thing. I wouldn't want like a Strange
don't
New
think I would like that
Worlds-ish
at all.
vibe. That I
No,
think
I
that show
don't think
needs
I
to
would like
stand on
that
its own.
either.
Yeah, the show needs to stand on its own and needs to move forward. I'm gonna say, like, I love Strange New Worlds. I don't mind it at all, but I am kind of sick of shows going back to the past and like redoing things that we've already done. Much to Van's point earlier on in the episode. So if they were to do more Babylon 5, I would want it to be like moving forward, self-contained type of stuff, right? Just like Stargate, I would like to see that. Nostalgia for the past is one thing, right? And I appreciate it, but it doesn't mean you have to be stuck in the past, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Which I will say, like, when Next Generation came out, they did the right thing. They didn't try to redo Star Trek, the 60s show. They did something moving forward. And I think all sci-fi could learn from that, because there are themes to explore moving forward, and you don't have to go back to the past and redo it all.
This is so true.
I agree.
We've got enough that we can come up with something new and move forward.
Yeah. I mean, at the most, remastered the special effects in some of these shows, but even then, I think that's not necessarily.
No, stop remastering my shows. Stop. Leave them
Brand new
alone.
special effects.
Ew.
Stop after Deep Space Nine. Please do Deep Space Nine, and then you can stop.
Okay, remaster anything you want, but have the originals available.
I agree with that 100%.
Yes.
Right? Like, look, one of the things that bothers me the most about Star Wars is that they try to like slash and burn any copy of the original versions and make it unavailable. It's like, I want to see that version.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to see where Han shot first.
Yeah.
Period.
Valid.
I just close my eyes during that scene and I just listen. And I'm like, ah, yes, I know. That's the first shot.
I'm imagining.
I'm just like, ah, yes, goodbye, Greedo.
And I like that. I like this that they offer both versions on the Blu-ray for the original series. Like,
yes.
I will have to say this,
This
when
is
I
fine.
watch Star Trek the original series now on streaming, I'm so fucking pissed because it's all brand new special effects, and I get it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you just want
I want
the
the
original.
cheesy. I want the cheesy
I just want it cleaned up,
original.
like uplift it, but keep the original effects. You know what I mean?
So, like when they take black and white movies and they colorize them, you want that vibe to the show. Just make it slightly prettier.
I just want the graphics to not be pixelated. That's it.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not saying
I
like
will give you
redo
that. I will
everything.
give you non-pixelated graphics.
Yeah, I don't even need like I'm gonna be honest. I don't like it when they colorize black and white films at all. I like the original black and white. I think it's more artistic. There's more charm to it. Whenever I see a colorized film, it pisses me off.
Unless it's a Shirley Temple movie. Shirley Temple movies look good in color.
Agreed.
I'm going to respectfully disagree with you.
Okay. You can be wrong.
Look, we want to know what color those dresses are.
One of the biggest things for me is I like the colorization so I can see what color dresses are.
Yeah.
I have never thought of it in that way, and that is a valid request. So I'll leave it be.
We have to understand that they're going in and kind of making up a lot of the colors that existed. They do have some reference material, but the actors and actresses were actually wearing very different colors, including their makeup, to get it to look right.
Yeah, their makeup was insane.
They're wild. Look it up sometime.
You should, if you ever, there is a TikToker, there's a TikTok creator who shows you how they had to do the makeup for like films in the 40s and 50s that were black and white in order to make it look like a woman is wearing lipstick or whatever. And like the colors that are actually on those people's faces. I don't know how those you have to be a really good actor to act across somebody with this nonsense on their face. Like they probably looked like they were going to a Star Trek set. Insane.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. No. I like it.
Yeah. Having done black and white photography, I understand what you're saying. I don't want to see that though. The original.
Wouldn't that be cool? So like in the Addams Family, a very famous example is the Addams Family original series. That entire living room, their iconic spooky living room, is very pink because that showed up giving the right vibe. So like you can find colorized pictures of it where they're like, this is what it actually looked like. And it's mostly pink. It's very pink. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous, but it's not spooky.
I mean, I think I would be kind of spooked out if I walked into a room that was all pink.
I would immediately assume that person's a serial killer.
Exactly.
Oh my god. Yes. Pink's a good color. So judgmental.
Okay. Pink is a good color, and I agree. I like pink. But if I walked into a room that was all pink, immediately you're a serial killer. I'm sorry.
100% agree.
Judgmental.
100% agree.
I'm
not like every single thing is you. I'm not saying that.
Truth. It's the truth.
I know.
I mean, so you're saying, I'm just saying, if you walked into a room, Van, and it was completely pink, you would not assume that person was a serial killer?
No.
And this is how they get you.
You got to work on your survival mechanisms.
I should not tell you about what my guest room looked like before I moved to where I currently live, should I?
My house, when I bought this house, every room was pink. The toilet was pink. The bathtub was pink. The wallpaper was pink.
Have you checked the underneath the floorboards? Have you checked the attic?
Wow. Wow, you are just really, really big on being convinced.
Look, I would say the same of any color, right? If I walk into a house,
No, I
and
would not.
everything is
Of every color.
if everything is like blue, like everything, that's also a serial killer. But it's like a different type of serial killer.
So,
Everything is blue.
so
Every
you don't
single
like
thing is blue.
people who have like a color that they love and adore? Is that what you're trying to say here? Like
But
you
but
can't love
everything,
one color and cover your entire home with it?
no contrast at all.
If I walked into somebody's space and I saw that they were surrounded by wicker folding walls, I would be like, that person's obviously a serial killer.
Okay,
Look,
no, I'm gonna give you that one.
this
I'm
is
gonna
because
give you
it's
that one.
messy back there. Look,
Kidding.
I have a very small space, and you don't need to see my TV and like the cords. They're just like not neatly placed because I can't be bothered to do that because I'm not a serial killer.
Apparently you
Says
don't have
the-
enough
says the
time
man
to be a serial
Oopsie.
killer. He doesn't he isn't
who
a
has time to be
serial
a serial
killer.
killer?
He just associates with them. It's fine.
Me?
You have
Does that mean
Moopsie
one of us in this room is
and
a serial
an
killer?
angel. A weeping
I think-
angel behind you, don't you? Yeah,
And
you have
I
a Moopsie
agree.
and a
No.
weeping angel behind you, and you're gonna tell me that you don't hang out with serial killers. I can see them.
We see the serial killers. We see them.
I took time to 3D print that, by the way, so I'm very proud of my
You took the time, energy, and effort to make your own serial killer to put on your trophy wall. I love that for you.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I'm running out of room on my walls, by the way.
That's why you should move out of Texas
Okay. Look,
and get more walls.
Because
Yes.
houses outside of Texas have more walls.
Actually, everything's bigger in Texas, so
Except the
That is-
walls.
that is-
apparently.
argument.
that is not true. Have you seen our deer? Like Texas deer are just
They are
hilariously
little
small.
babies.
They're like I don't understand how everybody else in the world has deer that are like the size of horses, and we have deer that are the size of cats. Like it's just hilarious.
Wow, even our deer are bigger than that. Bigger than cats.
I mean,
Your
our
deer are so
deer are
tiny.
probably the size
Not
of like
cat size.
mini donkeys or something, but still donkeys.
They're small.
They're small. Our
But if
deer
I
are
saw a
small.
herd of mini donkeys, I would assume that they belonged to a serial killer and not a herd of deer. Slightly off topic.
Okay, I'm
but
gonna
that-
make a
that
comment
just-
here, right?
Okay.
That just gave me a scary image in my head.
Donkeys are not the things that you should be afraid of. If you have a neighbor with like nothing but pigs in their backyard, that's what you need to be afraid of. 'Cause
No,
that
that's
is
who
a
you
serial
need to
killer.
make
Yeah, that's
best
very
friends
very
with.
Hannibal Lecter.
You need to be best friends with them.
So that you have a place to dump bodies because you're a serial killer with your
See, I don't
all-pink
have to
room?
have those in my neighborhood because I've got wild boar across the street. So we just
But Marty has solved the problem.
throw them at the boar.
This makes me question your guest room offer. Anyway,
Anyway, are we ready to wrap up this? We've
I
gone
think we are.
a little
I
off
think
topic.
we've jumped the
Slightly.
shark.
The Sharknado.
Yeah, the Sharknado
my
threw
hair
us
doing?
really far to the side.
Woo.
All right, that concludes episode 15, Ever Expanding Universe Fandom Edition Part 2. We're glad that you tagged along. Please give us a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Share our podcast with your friends, family, and enemies. We have no idea when or what our next episode will be about. So find us on social media and tell us what you want to see, and we will consider it.
Bye.
Bye.
Going out to explore. Tune-in comes to another frackin' podcast. Time travel, wormholes, and more. Chevron's locked on another frackin' podcast. Debating all the lore. We get signal of another frackin' podcast. Nerdy topics galore. Systems go for another frackin' podcast.